Okay, thank you everyone for coming. I will introduce myself a bit later, and it's gonna be also a story why I have chosen this topic. And we are going to talk about like business analyst as a change management in the client organization. First of all, I would like to ask you, like, is there like someone who works in the product company? Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to talk mostly about client and service organization, but I will try to adjust my speech a bit to the product reality. Another question that I would like to ask you, it's probably about your expectations from this evening and from this speech. So if someone can share like what they would like to hear right now today, it would be nice. And I have appreciation for those who will do this. Okay. Okay, so best method to make client. Okay, I already follow your idea. And appreciation. I don't have much of them, so share it now. Okay, any other expectations? Okay. 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 Um, something else? Yeah.
Sure. I'd like to hear from your perspective, how do you perceive business analyst role specifically in the change management process?
Okay. Um, I remember. Oops, sorry. Okay, someone else? Guys, don't be shy. I'm going to ask question you today, so it's not just my speech. Lena, you wanted to share something.
Yes, in general, I'm interested what does it mean change manager in IT process and how it could be impactful for the whole process of methodology.
Okay. Okay, change. Yes, Max.
Yep. I'd like to hear about the following case. For example, we have some legacy project and we try to introduce some changes to the client and convince him to buy them or give us a chance to implement them. And what is the fallback plan? What happens if client says no, and how do you think the company should work with such a project that is stuck?
Okay, I will tell you a story. I'm going to talk about one project, and he's talking exactly about the same project. Because I was business analyst, and we were trying to implement change management exactly in that project. So how to convince again? How to convince?
Not how to convince, but rather what is the plan B in case that change management and change introduction doesn't work out?
Okay, I will tell you what is a plan B. It's find support guy who is going to implement all their requests after you leave the project. Do you like this answer? I think no. Okay, something else? No? So I will start. Here's agenda for today. I will tell you briefly why I've chosen this topic. Then I will give introduction to the change management and give some examples how we did this on exactly that legacy project. How business analyst was helping in change management process. Actually, it was client request. To make business analysts perform such actions, and if there is no way to help, what to do in the end. And so why I chosen this topic? Again, about me, I didn't introduce myself as a purpose. I'm Anna Dombrovskaya, so I'm kind of Polish, quite far behind me. And I've been working in DataArt for 5 years as a business analyst, but before I was product manager in a product company. And here is just my example that how clients after project ended teach me how to shoot in Scotland, or it's me on that particular project, or here is my French team, we are making borscht together. And I believe all of this happens only if you build the trust with the client. And I believe it's the key success for the business analyst and quite case to success of the project itself. And basically, as I've been product manager, for me, I have mindset, I never distinguish myself from the client. I feel like I'm part of client team that works on the same project, on the same product all together, and I never seen that, okay, I'm from the service company, they pay me, so I should actually distinguish myself and always think about budget, about like fit into the, I don't know, making gross margin higher. I'm always like on the client side. And sometimes like business analysts just think that their role is just requirements gathering. And it's not about the business analyst. It's also developers who can think, okay, I'm writing my code and I'm working from 10 till, I don't know, 6, and my job is ending here. It's not, as for me, it's my personal opinion. It's not exactly like this. As you are talking with a client all the time, as you are working with the end users, with the us development team, if you build this trust, it would be easier for you, for the person, to deliver the project and to make the client believe into the change that you want to implement. And another reason why I chosen this topic, it's also about, it's my personal experience. So imagine 3 years ago, I've been assigned to the project, and project was about, there is 2 labs. One lab is in United States, another lab is in Germany. And basically, we should harmonize their system and move Germany from their nice, very cool system that they did 10 years, that they were like end users were product manager for the systems. And then management comes to them and says, okay, you have nice system that you did by yourself. Forget about this. Now you're going to use this Windows 95 system done on web forms, and but we will implement some features that will make your life better. So basically, for me, it was like 3 years dedicated for the projects. It was about 15 people development team, more than 25 end users with whom I constantly was interacting. And it were 2 labs, and there was such kind of budget. And telling the truth, in the end, all the change management activities that I'm going to talk about, they didn't work. Yeah, so it just spoiler of all my talks, but still we were implementing it. Still one lab is using this system, another unfortunately refused. And I will tell you in the end why it's happened, and probably it not the question of today, how to do that it wouldn't happen in future. But I will also tell my personal experience, how we were trying to implement change management for such project. Yeah, so now users, everything was nice until users actually asked for rollback, right? Yeah, so now no rollback is going to happen, because again, change management was working, or probably the higher budget of rollback was working, I don't know. And they still like using the system. Why I also like prefer to talk about change again. As for me, business analyst, it's not the person that just gather requirements, that creates stories, approve it with client, deliver it to the developers, and so on. So it's basically, and I believe if someone is who's certified here, so he knows it better than me, that business analysis is basically practice of enabling the change in the enterprise. And by defining needs and recommended solution, and the deliver value to the stakeholders. And again, probably value is the key of success here as well, but first of all, it's enabling this change. So it's not just gathering the requirements, it's not just like splitting the backlog to the stories, it's basically helping the users to accept this change, enable this change. And part of BIABOK is called strategy analysis, and basically definition of future state is also part of this BIABOK. So basically, yeah, when we know what is as is, when we know what is to be, when we see the gap between them, and we also like can define what actually change is needed. One of the key things to consider, it's basically if organization ready to accept, to make this change, if users want this change. And as for me, for that particular project, like it was 3-4 years ago, and I wasn't like experienced so much. So what we did, we just took these requirements and thought like, okay, fine, we will do this system, but we didn't even think to go to the users and evaluate if they're ready, if they really need this change, or it's just like management decision. Okay, let's do this. It will work. We will receive our bonuses after project is released. So it's something that is important to consider right when the project starts and when you receiving the requirements. And I believe, yeah, you can say, okay, if you work in a client organization, usually you don't have access to the end users. In my current project, we also didn't have access to the end users, but we came to the product owners and thought like, okay, we need to reverse engineer why these requirements came here, like on a plate. Are they really needed? What we can, like, we need to understand what happened, and we got access to the end users in the end. Any questions, comments so far? Yeah.
Who supported this idea of changing the system? Only the top management, or were also the people at the management side? Did they support it, or they were the one that need to be convinced?
Yeah, the managers, like top manager, there was guy who's responsible for these 2 labs, and he decided to do this in order like to split project and task between them. And there was IT director who also supported this, and there was project manager who supported this decision. But again, in the end, I will tell you what happened. End users of the labs, they were like, why do we need this? We can hardly imagine that some project will be distributed across the ocean and so on and so on. So basically all the end users were like, okay, fine, let's do this. Let's gather some requirements. Let's see the demo. Blah, blah, blah. So even people who were using this system, they were like, didn't truly believe into that their system would work for other lab. Any other questions? Yeah.
I have a question. As long as this flashing sign was shown, it was like rollback. It wasn't mentioned explicitly why users wanted to roll back. What is the root cause of this dissatisfaction?
I will
Rollback did not happen.
I will tell you in the end, okay? So I'm always going to come back to that project with some examples and with other like examples from other projects, if it's fine. Okay, I will go next. So, something about change management. As there was such resistance of change, project manager from the client side decided that we need to do change management here, that we need convince users that basically it's something good, that we need to promote this change. There was separate person dedicated to change management role, but at some point this person left, so I was playing the game of the change management as well. My question to you, how people usually treat change? Resist, yeah, and why? How? Okay, let's wait. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And this is for you. Thank you for sharing. And you were...
understand the job security. They are afraid that their skills gained in the last years will be like close to the beginner.
Yeah. Any other ideas?
Maybe they just got not enough information about that change, so they don't know what this is about.
Yeah, that's right. That's for you.
In general, we don't like change so
Why?
because we are humans. Because we feel insecure. We don't like to change. Not about only workload systems or IT systems. We don't want to change our flash each day.
Because it requires additional effort, so you need to get adapted to changes.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you for... Yeah. Yeah, it can be as well. And you were saying something?
I'm just saying that it brings some threats and unknown things. So from the user's perspective, it's a dangerous thing. I mean, any change.
Yeah. So when you don't know what to expect, and basically change is something like this as well. It's like transformation of the flower. But when we hear like world change, do we think about like transformation of the flower? No. Or do we consider that it's basically transformation of the butterfly? Change? No, it's not the change for sure. Change, it's something like this. Like bam, here should be like flashing of the light and something like this. And you were exactly right that basically why does it happen? It's because like mostly and we just unsure why changes happen. For example, if tomorrow my delivery manager comes to me and say, okay, we are going to introduce another business analyst to your project, I'm going to think, oh my God, I'm working bad. So they want to replace me. But then when they explain me that basically we are doing this because we need some person on site, because it's going to be too much pressure on you. We need to like build relationships with the client exactly in US, for example. And then I'm like, okay, fine, because I become informed. Then like general feel of unknown, like we always want to control situation, we always want to know what is in the future. And again, it's past experience with the change, because previously when another business analyst was introduced to the project, they wanted to replace me. It didn't happen, but still, like another business analyst left the project, but okay. It's also concerns about performance. It's something like, for example, if new system is introduced and then I don't know, you need to require some additional trainings, you need to do some new actions. So it means that regular actions that you usually do, I don't know, in Jira for 5 minutes, in some new I forgot some other tracker, but okay, Redmine, you would do it for the, I don't know, 15 minutes, and then creation of the task will be like, will influence on your performance in general. It's also fear of the job loss, because again, I hope it won't happen on my age, so we won't all be replaced by the robots. But it's for some people, usually what we do, we automate some manual process a lot, and this happens a lot. And basically, when you ask for someone, like, okay, please describe your daily flow, what you do every day, for example, and we want to optimize it, and person probably would resist into even sharing the requirements, because she will think like, or he will think, okay, fine, so new system will be introduced, my actions won't be needed anymore, right? And it's also concerns about required skills. So right when there's new system is introduced, then I don't know how to use it. Even if it looks like it was before, even if it looks the same, I still have to pass some training or get some knowledge to understand actually how to perform my daily actions. Right? Anything else to add here?
Yeah, maybe people didn't get the time, additional time to know about this change or work with the program.
Yeah, to adopt it. Okay, yeah, I agree. So basically, change management was actually created and introduced to change some kind of this to change curve. So basically, how people usually react, there is shock. Okay, someone bought us, and now we need to introduce new system. Then it's some denial, like it's never gonna happen, no new system, we will use our. Then it's frustration, like I don't understand what is this about, like how to deal with this. It can be depression, but then it starts changing to the experiment, decision, integration. And the main idea of the change management, it's basically to improve this curve, not to improve this gap, and to do something like this. So basically, what are the change management? It's quite simple principles, and it consists from the, like, let's say, these 4 steps. First of all, when you build like change management strategy, you need to understand what is changing, how it's changing, and are people aware, and do people support this change? And basically understand the change and discover stakeholders. It's regular BA activities. So when you do the impact and influence analysis, you can also like add another column and say, do people support the change, or how do they react, or how they interact with the system, right? And yesterday when we had the dry run, one guy asked me, like, should it be like question why it's changing? Should the developer know why it's changing? Should business analyst? As for me, the is question missing here, like, and you should always remember also and know, understand why it's changing. If you cannot answer on this question, how you can deliver this message to the end users? And also for the developers, they, like, if you work with the end user, if you do the demo, if you work with the as client development team, you should understand why it's changing. That's why it would help you better introduce this change, because you know what is the logic behind it. So after we examined what is actually changed and what are stakeholders' reaction, then you need to see again who is impacted, why people are resistant, and how get them involved. And for this, on this stage engage, you need to create consistent messaging, and basically it's creation of some kind communication plan, like do you need some trainings? Do you need to conduct some, I don't know, some meetings to actually to explain why it's happening? Who should conduct this meeting? Should it come from the top management, or it's like BA and project manager who can do it? And it's also build ownership of the opportunities. So it's something like, again, who is going to perform this messaging? Who is going to show users that some other opportunities are coming behind this system? And again, after like this plan is created, then it's enable. It's basically enabling here, and in our project it was meaning the set of the trainings where we, even when system wasn't ready, we were like taking as this process, we were taking to be processes, we were showing what is actually changing in this, like again showing like as is showing to be, and showing with the green, I don't know, blocks what is actually changing. And then we did some kind of demo. System wasn't ready at that moment, but we were showing, okay, you were doing it like this in your system. Here is new system. Please look at it. Like, do you feel it's so different? And they were, no, it's still the same. Yeah, probably user flow is different, and you need to access this screen differently, but it's the same. So it was then during the UIT, there was another set of trainings. After system went live, there was another set of trainings. And moreover, now I feel, after talking again to Maxim today, I feel that training is still missing. There should be more and more and more, when like you just sit with the users and try to explain how to work with the system. And in our project, it was even planned to involve persons from the other lab to go and educate people, just to exchange and educate each other with what is going on with their systems. So, and also it's important, we were doing some kind of survey monkeys, just to, that was completely anonymized, just to understand what is the readiness to the change. Of course, people were still like thinking, okay, they are so nice, I will put that I'm ready to the change, that I like the system, but still it's provided us understanding, are they ready to accept change? Do they want to do this change and introduce the system and properly react on it? And after basically these learning opportunities, again, what knowledge and tools and resources are needed, what is the best way to get them, again, investment from the management was needed to even send other users across the ocean, and so on and so on. And even for DataArt, like we hadn't these activities in our budget when we sell the project. So they asked us actually to send me to the users and do these activities like additionally. And after the go live, somewhere go live here happen, and before probably you need to define support model and transition ownership. Support model, it's something like hypercare, like what, it's not just bug fixing, right? It's also sitting, dedicating time to users and talking with them about how to use the system, why it's not the bug, why it's expected behavior, how should they act not to hack the system, and so on and so on and so on. So in terms of timeline, it was happening something like this. So firstly, again, you examine. Here you establish baseline readiness and do first survey, saying like, okay, do you feel that new system will replace the previous one? Do you feel that you receive enough support? Do you feel that you receive enough explanation? Do you feel that you receive enough, I don't know, attention from the development team? And it's also like plan and execute communication, and this communication will continue because all the time we had regular scheduled meeting, and it just to make users informed what's going on, again repeat why it's happened. And for me, on every I don't know, requirements gathering meetings, we were like talking with the users why we're doing like this, why we need to harmonize it, what we want to achieve in future, and why even this feature is going to look like this. So it's always reminding about this long-term vision, even on such regular small activities like project status, or I don't know, asking the users to verify and approve some designs, for example. And it's always this assessing business readiness. We were doing these constant surveys. Of course, when you have the go live and you need to hit the deadline, you a bit forget about accessing this change. But at that moment, management came and told like, okay, we are introducing this right now, and that's all. And it's also important track is the training strategy, content, logistic, delivery, and then during the hypercare, it's also like having call with the users every day and showing them how to do this, and that in order like to work with the system. And even if you feel that someone basically resisting change and saying that a new system is terrible, I cannot work, when you go to talk personally in private with the user, try to demo a new system, try to explain, dedicate attention to him, and be really like a babysitter to a baby. So it's the behavior change completely. And even today you told me that for that particular case that I'm talking about, like there was no questions for this 1 year about compounds, right? Okay. Any questions, comments about this or this? Yeah. Here, like I would distinguish showing prototype and getting like some kind of feedback, because for me it's like it's product management, and you do it constantly. You are doing it all the time. You're showing prototype, you're receiving feedback. You're implementing something, you're showing demo, you're receiving feedback, and you're trying to elaborate this feedback and see if it's matched to your priorities. Here in this concept, engage mostly mean like communicate to the user change, and you can communicate this change during showing prototype as well. So you can communicate this change during showing prototype, during the I don't know, declaiming status of the project, during having some, I don't know, management meetings, and so on and so on. It's happened all the time. It's constant process, and it's something that the project manager does, it's something that BA does, and it's not just activities that you just do. Yeah, you can plan it. You can plan and create the messaging that, okay, our vision is here, benefits for the user is here, and we communicate it only on these meetings. No, you have this messaging, and you know that for this, on this meeting is responsible like top leader of the project. Project manager is responsible to deliver this information to his level. Business analyst is the closest person to end users because he works with them all the time just to get some feedback, gather requirements, show prototype. So he communicates it to them. So it's different level, but it's something that happens constantly. Okay. Yeah, so every time when you have change to talk to them, you basically try to remind somehow. It's not like you sit and say, okay, so we start our meeting and our vision for future, it's like this, let's go there. But if you have change, you just know this and you believe, if you believe in this change, you try to transmit it to them, right? Okay.
Group of end users. Did you met someone who is more proactive, who could be for you a partner?
Yeah. I will tell about this a bit later. You
I
were.
have a question about this proposed framework. Were you consciously using this one, or were you searching because you actually weren't a change manager before that assignment, right?
Yeah.
You will be a change manager, right?
Yeah. It's not like I'm gonna be change management. It was something like, okay, our change manager left, so we need to do some activities. Who knows the system the best to do these trainings? BA who works with this system and with end users.
Was it a framework, I don't know, from internet, or is it your
It's
DataArt framework, or isn't it a framework? Why are you using kind of frameworks and
this framework, it's what we were using with client in that project, and it was proposed by client. Yeah. Basically, as for DataArt, I would say that when from the same client we get a request for proposal for other project, and they were saying, okay, please include change management services. So I went to the business analyst community and told like, okay, guys, do we have something about change management? They were like, yeah, change request management is somewhere there. You can take it. And I was like, no, I'm talking about different things. So it's something that was that was probably adopted, but as intuition and something that you just use by heart. I don't know. Okay, so how business analyst can help? Because for this, you can say, okay, but it's like project manager who should do this, or it's top management who should constantly say why we are doing this. How BA is involved? BA just gathering the requirements, like or doing the demo, or so on and so on. Yeah, I agree with you that it's not like this. That basically, as business analyst, it's the closest person to the end users, and when you talk with them all the time, and you actually gather in their trust. And if someone trusts you and you tell them what you really believe, it's something like this. So there is a quite famous guy, Philip, I remember, Kotler, and if someone was in some students' organizations, I cannot say the name right now because it's going to be advertising, but you probably would know his name. And he has this change model and this like change strategy that consists from 8 points. So first one, it's basically create urgencies of change. It's something that, as for me, should top management do, but BA can also implement. It's when you are creating a making people really want this change, saying that new system is going to be so cool and so awesome, and look at this and that and so on and so on, and you just saying them the true reason how it will improve their life, and it will make it like happen. The second part, it's basically what you were saying. It's, for example, in our project, there was some guy in Germany who was responsible for previous system. So he was product manager of the previous system, and he was really rejective to us. So he was like, okay, I don't like this system. There are a lot of abbreviations. I don't understand it, blah, blah, blah. So in future, I will tell about quick wins. And at some moment, and some demo, he was saying us, okay, there's all about abbreviations everywhere. I hate them. So I just write the developer saying like, okay, for tomorrow's demo, can you please change this abbreviation to these names? And he was like, easy. So next day we came, opened the system, and there was no abbreviations. And that guy was like, yes. So they listened to me, and basically by such actions he started to be on our side, and he was promoting this change, saying then to end user when someone was complaining, he was like, they will do it in the next phase. No, that's fine, we remember about it. So he basically became our project champion. And when you need to find such connection with someone, and basically not just with someone, but with someone who has influence. And that guy was definitely having an influence because he was like working with the users directly. Okay, next one, it's again create a vision for a change. It's determine benefits. So in that project, we were having the benefits game. We were like during the demo, we were having this stuff and trying to record all the benefits that were people finding. And in the end of the day, there was some kind of wrap-up sessions. And in the end of the how to say, week on site, for example, we were always showing, okay, here is the list of benefits that you were finding. And people started to play this game. They were like, okay, benefit. And when we came to another lab that already is using this system and tried to implement this benefit game, they're like, okay, that's fine, our system already does it, but this way probably would be better. So we dedicated more attention to labs that never use this system, and without actually paying the attention to these people who are actually using it, thinking like, okay, that's fine. They will accept it anyways. They don't have other choice. So next one is again communicate the vision, and when you have these benefits, when you have this vision, you should always remember to tell about it. So here we are showing you this prototype and this feature. Basically, when two labs gonna be work together, they go into, I don't know, to use the same budget, for example, and they can calculate how much this project would cost another lab, and if it costs cheaper or more, or I don't know, they can send it to other lab. And all the client managers who were dealing with the money were like, okay, yoo-hoo, we can send project to them. Then it's removing obstacles. So sometimes it was, our system was on Citrix. So sometimes when you launch Citrix, you just like, okay, I cannot log in or I can't run it, and you should quickly react. in just 2 minutes to remove these obstacles. For example, recently one other client from other project came to me and told like, okay, so I just uploaded to the Confluence some information that shouldn't be there. Can you please delete this page? And I'm running to the to our admins, try to say that please delete it immediately from our event sandbox because it's not important. And it's also about the quick wins, short-term wins. So sometimes, and probably delivery managers and project management won't say that it's something nice for me, but if some user request add some drop down and you trace it and you see that it's not so much work for the developers, and you go to talk to developers and developers say, yeah, easy, 5 minutes. Yeah, of course it's going to be overhead in testing and so on, but sometimes implementing the small drop down, it doesn't damage your priorities and budget and so on, but user will be just extremely happy after seeing it. So it's kind of short-term wins that you can to achieve to earn the trust. And it's also built on the change and like tell what else can be done for when this system implemented, how other change can come, and so on and so on. And anchor this change in corporate culture. So when we were having this list of benefits, and we even went to some concert of our change manager who was singing there. So we wrote some benefits on the banners and were showing to them. So everyone was like so excited about this benefits concept. So they started playing into these games even outside of the project. Any comments, questions? I think you a bit tired, or no? Or it's boring? No, so I will continue. There is no much. So how to achieve this? And as for me, just like it's all about building the trust. So people won't believe someone that never meet. People won't believe someone that they, how to say, that distinguish themselves from them, let's say like this. And how as for me, and recently I heard it from our like solution design consultant, that how he can achieve this trust is to align himself with the client goals and interests. It's sometimes even forgetting about yours. And I understand that budget, that we all need to deliver, that we all need to like accept this project. But if you feel like you understand client goals, and when you look on the point of view from the client perspective, it's always like easier to make him to believe into something, make them to believe into something. And as for me, I even asked my client from this project who invited me to Edinburgh after project ended for us and taught me how to shoot, like why you like me, why you actually invited me? And she was like, because you were always part of our team, because you were always thinking not from the DataArt perspective how to sell us something else, but from our perspective, do we really need this something else? How we can achieve this, and so on and so on. So I always use this trick. I never say that you should release something, you should do this, it's your priorities. I always say what we are going to release, what are our priorities. And one other client was like, we? Okay, yeah, we. So it's some of psychological trick to make client believe that you are on his side. It's again positioning yourself as a client team. Sometimes it's hard because sometimes they say, okay, you are a side, but it's also like investing your time into the supporting the client and spending time together. And for example, recently I was in a business trip and with the other BA, that second one who was introduced in the project. First day, we came to the lunch, to the kitchen area of the client, and they were already sitting there. And she was like, okay, let's go somewhere else. They are here. I don't want to have lunch with them. No, it doesn't work like this. You should try to dedicate as much as your time, especially on the business trip, to get to know the client, to showing yourself to the client, talking with them, asking about their vacations, personal life, even why they eat this meal. And again, they will trust you. It's easier to trust someone you know. And as for me, they can trust you, but if you want to sell them and if you just don't believe in this system, it would never work. So you should also believe, you should be this agent of the change that promotes this change. And if you know that system is actually not good and it's never going to work, it's gonna be extremely hard task, and you can do all these actions, but it would be hard to persuade someone that basically it's true. Anything else to add here? How do you think?
That is more general approach. It's not only about business analyst role. It's in general about the working with clients on any role.
Yeah.
Project management, product owner, whatever.
Yeah, I agree completely with you.
It can help you make the cooperation easier, and especially if we are talking about long-term cooperation.
Yeah, that's.
I can answer that question. It actually makes life easier just because, from my perspective right now, when this part is gone, the life became harder. So,
Yeah.
the communication is way easier when client trusts you, when you do understand the pain of the client, and they're more ready to accept those ideas and those changes that you propose.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think also that it's something that development team should done as well, and because development team also communicates with the probably end users and getting the, I don't know, in ideal process probably development team is not getting the bug requests or something like this directly, but still it can happen, and then you also interact with them, and you can also promote this change, that new system is going to be better, that it's actually helping to make your life better. That for our example, it's something that you will do the amendments to the system quickly, and that's why it would be better. So yeah, yeah.
In a situation when it's obvious for you that the system is not good enough or it requires some additional changes, but you know it's not possible because of the budget, anything else, and what do you do? You follow the steps as it is, or what do you do?
I think that for this, okay, for this you need to just escalate it and try to, again, if you truly believe in this and you go to the management with this belief and explaining why does it happen, and if you constantly repeat that there is a risk that it's not going to work, that budget going to be wasted. So in this, when you have trust to the management, when they have trust to you, and you escalate it and you make them believe in it, so it would be their choice, and you cannot do much except of this. And basically for our system, for this, I skipped some slides, I can talk about them, but it's basically the same. So identify this early adopter who can promote and spread this change across the other, and who actually already liked your system. Again, it's leverage your personal relationship with the stakeholder, because you can talk with them in private, to explain why it's good, why we're doing like this, and even their management couldn't talk with them in private, and it's something different, and here you some kind of voice of the management explaining why we're doing this. Then you can gather again on ground feedback, and during these lunches, so somehow ask so how it's going. And sometimes I was afraid to even ask this question. At some moment I just like, okay, so how do you think it's went? So do you like the system? People sometimes they are afraid to tell you the truth, but you can see their reaction and you can access it easily. Again, it's shared understanding of the project milestone, because sometimes people just don't know why it's done like this, that in future next milestone will come and you will introduce some other change, and it's not just end of the world right now, that something is missing, and so on and so on. And like be positive voice of change, obvious, and again reduce barriers and constraints. And here again in our project we were having long list of the improvements that were asked by users, and sometimes we were trying to accommodate these improvements. And again, the delivery managers and project managers would kill me for this advice, but still it's something that may work. And again, why end user resistance to change is so risky to the service company? How do you think? Like,
You fail on delivery actually.
true? Yeah. So they can not accept. Okay. They can reject delivery not because system works with defects, with bugs, but just because they don't like the system. Because that's why it's important to identify this risk as soon as possible and try to again to do the previous actions. And I believe you should listen to yourself if it's going to work, because I didn't listen to myself. I was like, okay, let's do it, but deeply I knew that it's not going to work, and I was so afraid to actually tell someone about this. So I was telling to my project manager from the client side, and that's all. And basically why rollback happened, and why one lab refused from the using the system. It's because all the people who decided to do this and decided to implement this change, they were promoted to the other position. So everyone from the management, this top manager, IT director, project manager, everyone left. So new people came, look freshly on the what's going on. There were end users were like, okay, we don't know going to use this system, or we are not going to use. And these new people, they were thinking, okay, they can use their old system. We don't need this change. We don't need to unite them. We don't need to share the project. So basically, purpose of this change, it's just gone. And that's why one lab just were saying, sorry, like we will continue using our system. And another lab to which we didn't dedicate too much time, they were like, okay, so why we accepted all these changes if another lab is not going to use this system? Let's do rollback. And basically, this my point was, an example was about that, yeah, we as a BA, it's important to do change management for the development, for the developers, for the project management. It's always important to tell this. But if the top management doesn't support this decision, it's never going to work. And that's why you need to escalate them and tell them that please pay attention, because it's just gonna be waste of money. And for me, again, I truly believe that if you believe in this, they will listen to you. Yeah, so yeah, go ahead. Now we go to the questions. Sorry, I did. Can you speak a bit louder? Sorry. Yeah. And because they probably like, okay, we're doing it because our management force it. And when management gone and decision is not actual anymore, they're like, okay, fun, we keep our previous system and so on and so on. So, and also sometimes people are afraid to give feedback. They are saying, okay, we will see what is going to happen after, like probably something else would be introduced. Sometimes they're just afraid to share their feedback in front of this top manager. We had the situation during the demo that basically when he was in the room, people were just sitting like, okay, fine, everything is fine. When he left, everyone started like to speak up. Yeah. This was waterfall. Yeah. Feedback loop. Yeah. Um, yeah, but it wasn't about functionality and features and demo. It was about this need of having new system, and that's all. So as for functionality, it was satisfying them. It was fine. But imagine that you have, I don't know, something. Okay, with the old and new car, it's not really nice example, but still something that you're really used to and something new for what you need to adjust. And you probably will select. Yeah. Yeah, true.
Actually, a lot of questions, but maybe I'll start with a few ones. What was the actual need from the beginning? Why they didn't want to change the system?
Because first of all, once their system was done on Flash, that it's not going to be probably supported anymore. Second, they were like management were seeing that they can actually, if they work on the same system, they can share projects. So you can give the client the same quality when you do it in the same system. So you can show the same reports. You can show in the end the main product that they deliver to client is set of the reports. So basically, different systems were producing different reports, and that's all.
Did the client have his own support system or support person, key user for that system?
Yes.
He disappeared or that person disappeared?
No.
Yes.
This person still working there and like contacting this guy and giving him requirements and so on and so on.
And so in the example you've given, the project you mentioned, would you say like the main issue was that the change wasn't managed well with the end users throughout the project? Or maybe it was an issue of not getting the new management buy-in for it?
I think the issue was that old management didn't do the change management at all. So they just were not explaining and saying why it's implemented. And it's only us who were doing it like a kitten in the river, you know?
How the contract was created with DataArt and this company, because probably the guys were developing and the money was spent already, and usually when the money was spent on project, then the project manager and managers try to sell it the best they can because the money was already spent on that.
Uh,
It must be the feature is not enough.
Yeah, so for us, we like spent a lot of time convincing that it's feature, it's not a bug, and it's for some kind of this hyper care. But as the like project manager from their side accepted it, and it was like everything was fine for him. For us, it was also, but we were doing some kind of hyper care for a long time and also invested time from our side trying to explain them why it's not a bug but feature. Right? Yeah. So, yeah.
To what extent the demo or testing phase went with the end customers, or were the all end users using this system?
For the demo, there were like cases, product champions, and for the UIT testing, all of them were coming and doing the UIT. So basically, I was sitting with them and going through the UIT scripts with them, and also the same stuff on the go live.
Until both laboratories were included?
Yeah. So I was in Germany and BA from the client side in US. Uh, I believe it's probably given the separate task to him. Try to, first of all, to send this person and to face the client and spend some time together. If it's not possible, get on the messenger and try even to establish some contacts by the messenger, I would say like this. So with the team, with the development team, or with the client team? With the development team. So I believe it's the same. It's trying to establish this trust with the developers and try to, like, I don't know, to support. As for me, it's probably support to answer all these questions, their questions, to try to, I don't know, dedicate some time to them, even if it's extend your 8 hours of work. Yeah, you. Rejected change. Yeah. But it's quite a common situation, I believe, when management to decide something and give to end user just the decision that now we are going to move to the new system and you should give to the requirements to this goal. And sometimes they have their own task and they just don't care that I have deadline and should produce requirements to the development team.
Take your approach? I mean, this educating of the end user, or end user to use the system?
I believe end user to use the system because no one actually convinced top management, and it was the gap. Of the
I believe that this approach you proposed increase the budget, increase the timeline, so it's some kind of decision on the management.
Yeah, it's increased the budget, and it was some kind of like regular activities that happen on the client side. This change management approach. So as I understood, it's happened in quite a lot of their projects. So they were like, okay, we see clearly resistance, so we need to find some change manager. And then budget was increased, timeline wasn't. Yeah. But as for me, again, I believe that it should come from management, and we were talking like all the time that please go to the users, please talk to them, please explain why it's important, and so on and so on.
Are you familiar with cross-site ADKAR framework?
No.
Very interesting, because it's purely about change management, and the gap you're thinking they have are purely described in that approach. And at least from ADKAR cross-site point of view, you are 100% correct.
Okay.
ADKAR cross-site as institute cross-T ADKAR. ADKAR is actually an acronym for awareness. Add K
Okay.
KAR. That's an acronym.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually methodology, and the institute is PROSCI. Pros PROC.
Okay.
Yeah, SCE.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
But there is a very interesting approach in ASCAR ProSci when they say that change management is actually done by 3 branches. It's actually a project, and we did have a project here. It's actually a change itself and organization, which they call a leadership. And there they explain that I do believe end users have all information. They didn't use the system not because they didn't know how to use the system. They didn't use the system because the need wasn't there. Actually,
Yeah.
the need was the manager. I don't using brand new Ferrari car because I just need a Ferrari car in that point of view. And there is a triangle, very interesting, and here the work of some things is good to have out organization. You can say, okay guys, that's our product and it's good. Okay, we believe you, but if my manager is not saying that thing, and manager of my manager is not actually asking me to use a product, I will not.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this. I will check, and it's exactly what you are saying.
The ATCAR ProSci meeting was actually previous week here in Wroclaw, and will be probably in 2 weeks in Universitat Economiczny or something like that.
Cool. So we will check 2 weeks.
Is the lecture open for people?
Yeah, it was open for everyone. I wasn't participating, and I'm actually just a business analyst, but right now I'm switching. My history was very much the same. I'm just a business analyst, and then in one project we were developing a product which was developed, and then from end users we got a result. We will not use that, and I was extremely happy to hear that from. I mean, not happy, but it was really good that they say that to me at least, because they, yeah, you've done a great job, but we will not do that. We will not use this product. Wow, great! And I was nearly finished the development then. So I was pushing that button, I was going to, and they say, why cannot you use the product? And here was really good analysis. Actually, I was delivering the product, which was good enough. The problem was they cannot use the product about the organization structure. I will not change the structure itself. They did have other responsibilities not within that system, but in other system and the inputs of the system. So then was building awareness and changing the organization structure. That was a huge, so to speak, non-IT work.
Yeah.
Either business analyst, but not IT work. There. And then someone mentioned, oh, we should have a change manager there. And then I actually was familiarized with change management approach and this ATCAR and so on and so forth. There is a huge knowledge database with all the tools over here.
Cool.
And as you mentioned at the beginning, we could do that just by thinking, okay, are we building the awareness? But it's much more easier also probably just to know that there's a lot of diagrams, frameworks, tools. If you go through all of them, you probably will build that.
Great, thank you for sharing this. I think everyone will check, probably not everyone, but I will do for sure. Okay, so there were some other questions. Are we ready to close our meeting? Let's go quickly. So, best method to make client to follow your idea was? Oh, not so much.
I think the most important was you are repeating that a few times. It's like building trust with the client, good communication, good communication. Also, I think like before and after the work time.
Okay. So practical examples, not so much probably overshare. Yeah. So how? 50-50 or not at all? 51. Okay, it's better than 50, right? Okay, so BA role in the change management.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of details. So the key takeaway, you leverage your personal relationship with the customer and you be the advocate of change as a person being closest to the customer.
Yeah, true. What is change management? It was from Lena. I believe it's clear. What is plan B? We will talk with you later. Yeah, plan B, it's to write new proposal, right? What you're doing right now.
Like to summarize, when we retreat, recruit,
Yeah, so basically what's happening right now with the project, it's one lab using the system because they don't have other choice. No rollback it's going to happen because they don't have budget. So now we are thinking about like what we can sell them more to make them more happy about this project. Okay, thank you very much for coming.